afterwards.
I can't do this. I can't do this.
About that, man.
I can't do this.
I don't know about
Let's Trista's here. Trista, I can't do this. Let me just say this because this is almost as stupid as what Kenny's doing right now. And it's Ian Rappaport saying the Commanders and Eric Bieniemy are finalizing a deal for him to be their new offensive coordinator. Eric, don't do it.
Why do they get sucked into this?
Against the wall.
Why do they get sucked into this? Why
are we the only ones that have to do this?
Damn it.
Why does Eric Bieniemy have to go be an offensive coordinator for the worst franchise in professional sports? To get a job. Dude's won 2 Super Bowls, and he's got to go to the worst franchise in professional sports?
To be a coordinator. Dudes he just beat are about to be head coaches.
Trista, call your people. This is ridiculous.
They're not mine. They're not mine. You guys know they're not mine.
In the league. No. I didn't mean those people. I didn't mean those people. I mean you people in the league.
Here's the thing I don't understand. How do you succeed if you're Eric Bieniemy in that spot to the point where now you are a head coaching candidate for real, where someone will hire you? The level of sustained success that Eric Bieniemy has had over the course of time with Andy Reid is far and away better than Jonathan Gannon, far and away better than Shane Steichen. And the fact that those two guys, no shade to them, I'm sure they're fine people, get just snatched up immediately, first time around, Philly comes out of nowhere and goes to the Super Bowl. Like, okay, I just don't understand it really. And on top of that, there's been the one thing I don't agree with Stephen A very often, obviously. But the one thing that he said that I actually believe is true is that the narrative that's being created in Kansas City is wrong and not helpful, which is that, oh, well, Andy Reid calls all the plays. That like just that Eric Bieniemy is just chilling out there. Like he's just doing nothing. He's not responsible for one of the most potent offenses that we've ever seen. He's not responsible for identifying Pat Mahomes from jump when he was the quarterback's coach there, right? Like that they just decided they were gonna trade Alex Smith because of why? Because why? Everybody just knew Pat Mahomes was that guy? No, I think Eric Bieniemy knew that he was that guy. And we know he identified multiple situations where he could exploit the linebackers of the Philadelphia Eagles when they played the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that was him. All those misdirection plays you saw in the Super Bowl, that was him. So I think Stephen A is right that the narrative is being pushed that Eric Bieniemy like basically doesn't do anything.
And the crazy thing about the narrative, though, is like maybe they are. Or the decision makers that stupid. That
yes.
They can't think for themselves. They don't have their own 2 eyes. They can't sit there. Like all 3 of us can sit here. We hear the same narrative. We hear the same thing all the time. We hear it. But we sit there and we watch the games and we understand the impact that Eric Bieniemy has. If anything, like I know people, were critical of the narrative and stuff like that. Andy Reid himself has said numerous times, I don't think I could have done this without Eric Bieniemy. Pat Mahomes has said, I don't think I could have done this without Eric Bieniemy. Like these decision makers, are they that, for a lack of a better word, dumb, where they just can't think for themselves?
Well, and then you have to go off of 2, and like there's a couple of things there happening. One, they're going off of a biased lens anyway that they just exist with. That's just like in their eyeballs at all times, right? We know what time it is. But then I've never spoken to Eric Bieniemy in my life, but he's had a bunch of interviews, and clearly whatever vibe they're getting from him in interviews, they don't like. And sometimes we've seen this on lots of occasions where if you don't assimilate to the YT way of rhetoric, then you're just kind of iced out. It's like, oh, we don't like this. I'm not saying that's what it is, but he's interviewed like 10 times. Mm-hmm. And like, that's something that I think about too. Do you just not like the way Eric Bieniemy communicates? What is it about his communication style that you don't feel is worthwhile to hire him for? I just don't get it. I wouldn't go to the Commanders if I was him. I think that's a grave mistake, I hope he takes Sam Howland at the moon to the moon, and he gets Ron Rivera's job, and he turns the Commanders into a dynasty that crushes Philly from now until oblivion.
Well, I think that's going a little bit too far because that's wishing a little bit too much success onto Dan Schneider. So let's.
Well, he'll sell the
Yeah,
team.
he'll be
Soon.
gone soon. Yeah,
I think Bezos is going to buy that team.
Yeah,
Not
he'll
to
be
say I
gone
love Bezos, but
Well,
better than Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
I'm desperately trying to find like
Facts.
no Bill Belichick's like what was Jim Schwartz, offensive coordinator or defensive
coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think he was
Also,
calling the defensive plays?
Matt Nagy was the OC. Did not call plays for Andy Reid.
Mhm.
Chicago Bears head coach.
Hmm.
Down into flames you go. Goes back to Kansas City.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know if you saw this. This is I almost cussed. This is insane.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But this was an
This
F
would be the
bomb.
first
This was
time.
an F
Oh,
bomb.
well, that'd be a
This
good
was
one.
an F bomb. So I spoke to multiple people that cover the Kansas City Chiefs on Super Bowl week, and they believe, 2 people told me they believe Matt Nagy is the coach in waiting, the heir apparent to Andy Reid whenever he retires.
Jeez.
Why isn't Eric Bieniemy that?
That's what I thought was going to happen earlier in the week.
Becky Hammond situation only works.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen earlier in the week when I saw Eric wasn't getting another job. I was like, well, why doesn't Andy just say? And they were kind of questioning whether Andy would come back. You know, those questions were coming up. I was like, well, why doesn't Andy just say, look, man, I got 2 or 3 more years left. Just stay here. I'll hand the keys to you when you're done. But I guess somebody else is in mind.
The keys are in someone else's pocket.
Jeez. Wow.
Hey, before we get to basketball, is Tiger Woods influential?
Yeah.
That's not the question.
Okay. Is Tiger Woods one of the most influential and impactful athletes in history?
Yes.
It's Tom
Pretty
Brady.
easy answer, wasn't it?
It's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's Tom
No.
Brady.
No.
Why is Tiger and not Tom Brady?
Well, because Tom Brady did nothing for the game except for being old and having longevity. I think that's obviously something important, but it doesn't influence the culture of a game that is and has never really been represented, right? Like my neighborhood didn't care for golf at all. I didn't care for golf at all until when I was like 12 when I saw Tiger. And so just his existence and his dominance and his swag just sort of changed the game of golf forever, to the point where if he's in it, there's an entire culture that's in. And I think that's also shaped who plays, who wants to play, like just kind of opened up the sport for many communities that never have.
But to me, that's not influential because
Why?
if he's not in it, they don't care.
But there's people who play. I mean, like, do you think Pat Mahomes plays golf without Tiger? Do you think that kids around the country do the First Tee program without Tiger? No.
Look, if they're doing it, then Tiger gets credit for that. But they haven't made it all the way up. And I made the comparison to Serena. Serena has a line of people that have come after her directly. Tiger has nobody that I know of.
It's just a different type of sport, really. I think there's just a lot more. I mean, tennis is not as how would I put this? Like, you could have a tennis court and that plot of land is kind of the same everywhere you go, right? To be on a golf course and the costs, a barrier to entry for tennis is, yeah, you have lessons and stuff, but the barrier to entry for tennis is much lower than the barrier of entry to golf. A set of golf clubs, probably $1,000. You got shoes, you got clothes, you got to get to the golf course. Big plots of land required to get to that. You've got greens fees, you've got practice balls, you've got gloves, you got all this stuff that sort of makes it very difficult if you're in any way not of means.
And you may or may not be allowed on it.
Yep, and you may or may not feel not even just allowed, but feel welcome. I had I was an Evans scholar, but was participating in the Eagle program, and I was at a Muni course, Heron Lakes, and there was a brother-sister duo from Eritrea, and they always told me stories about just how foul it was. And that was, the inner city golf course there. You go to any country clubs where things are nice and it gets even worse.
Once again, I don't know. You said the key word. When he's in it, yeah, I'm watching too. When he's not, I haven't watched the golf tournament when he's not in it. So he's not. He hasn't
That
moved me.
speaks directly to his impact.
Yeah, his impact on him, on what he does. He is not leaving a legacy. When he's gone, I probably won't watch golf no more. Like it's just about Tiger's greatness. It's not about, damn, this is a great sport that Tiger introduced me to. I'm going to keep watching far after he's gone. It's just about Tiger. And the other thing about that is,
but that's your preference. She used Patrick Mahomes. Steph Curry's probably not golfing on his off time without Tiger Woods. Darren Williams is a hell of a golfer. He's probably not golfing.
Michael Jordan was golfing before Tiger Woods. Like the athletes golfed before Tiger Woods. Okay. So, and all I'm saying is, I'm not saying he's not impactful or influential. I think we talked about like the two most. I said there's probably 10 more impactful athletes.
No, you literally said he's not impactful or influential.
Didn't I say he's not top 10?
And he's absolutely, and it's no.
I said he's not top 10.
You evolved to he's not top 10.
He's not top 10. He's not a top 10.
Yes,
you disagree with that?
Yeah, no, that's absurd. He's like top 3 or 4.
He's absolutely not top 3.
Who's on your?
Who the hell is ahead of Floyd Mayweather?
He's not ahead of Kobe. He's not ahead of Jordan. He's not ahead of Serena. That's 3
I'm not
right
gonna
there.
say okay. All right, dude. I'm not saying anything bad about Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe too much, but
I think he's more influential than Kobe.
Woods.
Stop it. What'd you say, Trysta?
I think he's more influential than Kobe.
Thank you.
Okay.
I do. And I love Kobe. Like, I love Kobe.
All right.
I'm going to say this because this isn't disrespectful. The Mamba mentality has been romanticized a lot since he passed away.
Also, the Mamba mentality is kind of a psychological sickness.
Well, there's that.
Like, that's a sickness. Let's be honest. No work-life balance. Give everything you can to something that may or may give something back to you in a limited time period in your one life on this earth, and do nothing else. Sacrifice your relationships with all of your friends and family because this is the one singular goal that you have. Greatness, man, is a sickness. That right there is facts.
That was a bar. That was a bar.
I just made it up.
That was a bar for sure. I disagree. Okay. I don't think Tiger was as influential as Kobe Bryant.
Who's number 1 on you guys' list?
Jordan, and it's nowhere near close.
I'd argue it's Muhammad Ali and then Jordan.
And then Serena and then Tiger? Or Tiger and then Serena?
I'd probably put Serena first. And then I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Creating lists is hard.
Real quick.
But Ali, Ali and Jordan are clearly 1 and 1.
Real quick, you mentioned because we kind of glossed over him. Tiger more influential than Allen Iverson?
Yeah. I think Allen Iverson. Yeah, I think Allen Iverson though. Like, I'm struggling with whether Allen Iverson is before or after Steph, because for a long time it was Jordan and it was Iverson to me as the most influential NBA guys. Steph is influential in a different way, but he is directly influential, like on the game in a similar way Allen Iverson was. I don't know. I might still have AI as the second basketball player. I don't know where he'd go on the list though. If you want me to spend my time away making a list of the most influential athletes,
some pros and cons, we'll get a whole spreadsheet.
Yeah. You don't have to do that.
We'll do a Google Doc. We'll contribute to it.
That's it. Well, let's start another fight.
All right.
Who's your? By the way, where are you?
At my house.
Yeah,
you're just at a different spot of the house. Okay, I got you.
No, I got rid of the Christmas tree.
Well,
and I shut the bedroom door.
Like you just got rid of the Christmas tree? Like in February you got rid of the Christmas tree?
No, I mean the last time you guys saw me on Zoom, I've been other places, not here, you know.
Yeah, but
so you got rid of the Christmas tree after Valentine's Day is what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. So where was I last week? I was in Arizona. The week before that, I was in New York.
Okay.
The week before that, I was in Buffalo. The week before that, I was with y'all or somewhere else.
When did the tree get eliminated?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
The tree is actually out on our doorstep right now, waiting to get picked up.
All I'll say is this. I don't think the tree has been in your eye line since it was appropriately in the eye line, which was right around Christmas.
You can still smell the pine.
I don't remember seeing the tree, but you are in
I
a
don't
different
either.
spot. And I
Yeah.
know that.
No, I'm in the same spot. I'm in the same
No,
spot.
because
Not.
I'll tell you why. Because
I
I
am.
always see what's on your TV.
Well, I'm usually like right there.
There you go.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, there
maybe
we
that's
go.
it. And there's the other TV.
There
That's
we go.
there
Yeah,
it is.
so I'm right there. You can see the little cacti doing its thing.
The cacti, indeed. Who's your NBA MVP?
I think it's Jokic. I do.
Why?
Like who's mine? I just think he's just gonna get voted in. He's better than he was last year when he won MVP. That's really it. Like he's better efficiency, playing better defense than he played last year.
You know,
averaging a triple double.
You know who's having the best season of his career?
Tell me.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, now he hurt his wrist, and so he's out. So he's done. So he'll probably be out for the next 3 weeks. So that eliminates him right there.
Giannis is the MVP, Trysta.
He won't win it.
He won't win it.
He won't win it. He's hurt. He's hurt now. He's hurt his wrist.
But look, here's the thing. Even if he wasn't hurt, the propaganda before was saying he wasn't going to win it.
Yeah.
And what is that all about?
This is what
far better. I shouldn't say far better. He's having a better season than Jokic.
Is
His
he?
team is just as good, if not better.
Is he?
And he's having the best season.
Think the
two-time
Wait.
MVP.
No. The Bucks are not better than the Nuggets this year.
They're like a game worse.
No, but we're talking about the eye test right now. Milwaukee hasn't looked good.
Milwaukee
no.
Dog walk Denver. They would dog walk Denver in the series.
God.
Milwaukee and Boston are two best teams in basketball.
We have seen way more. Listen, let's take a step back for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. I know we're all in a controversial, aggressive mood, and it's okay. It's fine.
You walked right into it.
All-Star game is in Utah. We hate that, right? We hate it. We're already ready to go. Okay. Yep. So let's just dead that
we're
for a
all
second.
missing the All-Star game because it's in Utah and we're really worked up about
Let's just all get back our little powwow together. And let me just back up and say, I think Milwaukee is a better playoff team than the Nuggets. Okay. So we're gonna say yes, I agree. When fully healthy and in playoff gear, I like Milwaukee more than I like Denver. Period. So we can just start there. Okay. What I will say is, though, this is a regular season award, and the Denver Nuggets have had far less clunkers in the regular season than the Milwaukee Bucks have. And the Milwaukee Bucks have had more tumultuousness in terms of what's going on with their lineup and some of the holes in said lineup where they spent 5 second-round picks to get Jay Crowder, because there's certainly some holes in their roster. Chris Middleton's been not healthy. You've had issues with Giannis here and there. You've had issues with Drew Holiday here and there. So with that being said, I still like Milwaukee in the postseason. But again, who is the better team in this regular season? I believe Denver has performed significantly better and more consistently than Milwaukee.
In a weaker conference.
I would agree with that. But let's look at some of the teams that Milwaukee has put up stinkers against, and those were in that weak conference. They have lost against some Western Conference teams and not looked good. They have lost to Chicago by 20. They have had some stinkers. Didn't they lose to another bottom of the barrel team as well multiple times?
Boston lost to Orlando twice.
That's true.
Yeah. Huh? That was I think the Spurs had one win in 18 or 19 games, and it was against Milwaukee.
Didn't Milwaukee lose to the Rockets too?
They might have.
It's been ugly, folks. There's been some ugly.
They lost to the Lakers. They lost 97-92 to the Rockets.
But even
with that was the one.
Even with
they
that,
lost to Chicago twice.
Even with all that being said, Denver's what, a game better than Milwaukee?
They lost to Charlotte.
again. But they lost to Charlotte 138-109.
They also haven't lost since January 21st.
They've been cooking. They've been cooking in the last month. We'll say that.
And isn't Denver a game better than Milwaukee? They may have the same amount of wins, maybe one more loss. It ain't like we're talking about a 5-game difference.
We're
They got
talking
the
about the
same
eyeball. We're talking about the eyeball, Kenny.
Well, the eyeball tells me ain't nobody messing with Giannis this year. Nobody.
Well, no, that's not my point. My point is, why has Jokic already won the award? How is this not one of the greatest races to an NBA MVP in history? It is extremely clear. And here's my other question for you. At what point can we
No.
reasonably expect your boy and the Denver Nuggets to do something in the postseason?
Never. 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 This is a team that's not built for the playoffs, in my opinion.
I'm gonna DoorDash some alcohol. Who's down?
What kind?
Oh, well, I'll get you a Coke Zero.
I'm down one. So what I would say to that is I believe there's a historical push. I think for a while there was a barrier to it where they didn't want to give somebody the MVP 3 years in a row, right? That was like, it's been Larry. It's the last time that this has happened is Larry, right? So at one point, I think there was this reluctance to it where it was like, quote unquote, voter fatigue. And now I feel like it's actually hype to that. Like, I actually think that the world kind of wants it to happen. And I think they kind of want it to happen. The media, that is. I think the media world kind of wants it to happen. Not us, but the
bad media.
The bad media. The sheeple, as we would call them. They want to give it to someone who doesn't look like an elite athlete. If you saw Jokic walking down the street, besides the fact that he's tall and huge, you would not say to yourself, this guy has court vision like Magic Johnson. Like, this guy can shoot from 30. This guy can, get 27, 15, and 15 if he wants. You wouldn't. And I think that's something that's very appealing to the sheeple media, that somebody who is 42nd overall pick, 44th overall pick, whatever it was, for him to be this dominant, I think that they like that. And I think how unassuming he is more appealing to them than someone who is just very clearly a specimen. No, Giannis is. Like, he just is.
The Charles in the chat.
So that's cheating. We're not going to give him the award because he's a physical specimen.
The LeBron argument.
Correct.
That is like, who's crowning Joker? And just for clarification,
the straw poll
from they had like a mock voting from the
straw
media,
poll.
And it was Joker in a landslide. He had like
it wasn't even close.
He had like 77 first place votes.
And these are people
30.
who vote.
Right.
I think Giannis had 5 first. Yeah, I think Giannis had 5 first place votes.
Yeah.
And that's my issue. I do want to mention this since we spent 10 minutes breaking down the Bucks and the Nuggets. 2 MVP years for Nikola Jokic, 47 and 25 and 48 and 34.
That was actually the reason.
For whatever it's worth, those are the numbers. Those are hell at this point, 48 and 34. De'Aaron Fox is the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
He's going to be on a 48 and 34 team.
Yeah.
Fox is cooking though. Woo.
Cast that vote.
MVP.
My issue is,
do you have a vote, Trysta? I'm sorry.
They would never give me a vote.
They should.
They would never give me a vote to anything. They wouldn't let me vote on the type of buses that media went to the hotel in. They wouldn't let me vote. They wouldn't let me vote on the freaking summer league, let alone the real league.
You're going to get a vote one day because you deserve it.
One day.
You actually watch the entire league.
That's
that's the thing.
Point.
Like, you don't watch the Lakers and Nets and Knicks and now the Suns. Like, you watch the entire league.
But I say the F word a lot and they don't like
you
that.
You do. You absolutely
I like wear too many chains and I like flip people off and like.
But that's why we love you.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were wearing chains. I thought that was part of your shirt. Oh, wait. I'm still confused. That's a chain. Okay.
That's a whole set.
Yeah.
She out here looking
that
like
ain't 2 chains. That's 10 chains.
She out here looking like NBA young boy. All that bling. I see you.
And a beanie. She got bling and a beanie on. She got a beanie on inside. You know it's rough out there right now.
Cold today. It's cold.
She's like, I'm gonna save a few bucks and just put this beanie on. My issue isn't Jokic being the MVP. It's the fact that the race appears to be over, and we're seeing two of the greatest seasons we've.
Right.
And I guess Jason Tatum just can't get in the conversation.
He was in the beginning. I think actually he was the leader for the first like 4 weeks. And here's the thing, though.
When did it end? When did the conversation end? When it was just like, nah, this isn't fun anymore. It's Jokic.
I think the thing that we need to keep in mind about Tatum is we need to watch how he plays in really important games. And he tends to not elevate his game when the moment gets big. He tends to slightly decrease his game in those moments. And
what's a big game, though? Are we going back to talking playoffs?
Like TNT, even TNT games against rivals, right? Like
50 on national TV not too long ago.
Who did he put it up against?
Jesse, did he have a big game?
Maybe like a week ago. I forget. Let me see who it was. We'll look.
I don't know if
he did foul LeBron at the end of the game, and officials lost sleep, and Adam Silver had to address
it. 41 against the Hornets.
I'm guessing that wasn't on national television.
34 against the Pistons.
Guessing that was on national television.
35 against the Knicks. None of those were really important games in any way. Let's look. See if there's any.
Pretty good on League Pass, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty big. Had 39 against Memphis. That's a big game. Let's see if there's anything else of note.
I don't think anybody played that game either.
Yeah, 49 against Miami, but Miami's not good. He's wildly erratic. I'm looking at his stats right now. Yeah, there's been some clunkers. Guys. Yeah. Love some Jason Tatum, but there's been some clunkers.
Clunkers? Guy was averaging 31 in January.
You know who could be the second part of the season MVP? I mean, obviously Jokic, he's got to win his award. Kawhi Leonard.
He's been insane. He's been insane. Here's the thing, though. You can't play 5 games and then take 1 game off as a matter of just.
We actually looked at it yesterday. He can. That's exactly what he's doing. It's like 5 or it's
5-1. That's what it is. It's every 6th game he takes off and then he scores 34 the next night. That's what he does. That's what his plan is. I think that's like built in his plan. He's been crazy. He had 7 threes for a guy that doesn't shoot threes. 7 for 9, I think, like 2 games ago. Averaging a couple of steals, getting a block, just kind of doing everything. Yeah. He's so good. The problem is he didn't play the beginning of the season, and like he was just out indefinitely. I think he played like the first 2 or 3 games and was out like 15 games.
Yep.
And then now he's doing the little load management deal, and Clippers have kind of been up and down. So unless you're doing something that's historic, like average a triple-double, which like we said, Jokic is doing, you kind of have to be.
What if you do it 4 times?
Do what 4 times?
Average a triple-double 4 times. I was just asking.
How many MVPs did you get if you average a triple-double 4 times?
Probably 4.
Yeah, I agree with Trysta.
Probably 4. But if you don't, so say you're not doing that, you're just having really good numbers. The league normally will say you have to be top 1, top 2, maximum 3 in the West. And that's what makes the Jokic MVP so interesting, is that they weren't, right? Like it was just him by himself. There were multiple players that had gone down with significant injuries. MPJ, Jamal Murray. He was just rocking out with like AG at the trade deadline and Bones Highland his rookie year. And he was just willing them to the playoffs. Other teams, I think, would see that roster, even with somebody who was really, really good, and they wouldn't really be able to take him to that level. So yeah, I mean, it's an argument as old as time. What does MVP really mean?
And who do you think Jesus was arguing for?
Moses.
Certainly not Judas. Certainly not Judas.
No.
Although one could say, if you're essentially going in,
Moses is the
I mean, Judas kind of set the whole thing off, didn't he? The domino of like dying and resurrecting, that was Judas. Truly.
I'm with Damien.
The true MVP.
The true MVP is Judas. See, that's how you know we can get into anything on this show.
I'm with Damien, where I don't. It's not. It's definitely not a bad thing that Jokic is winning because he's sick.
He's crazy.
Jokic is phenomenal. I just look at Giannis. If I had a vote, I'd vote for Giannis. I think he's having a better season. He's doing more, and his team is winning just as much. But I think the thing that bothers both of us is that it doesn't seem to matter at all what Giannis is doing.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter what Giannis is doing, and suddenly the playoff failures aren't being held against them the way they've been held against MVPs of the past.
Yeah, I mean they got swept.
I mean, Jokic is going to have 3 MVPs and 0 titles.
Yep, he is.
0 non-bubble Western Conference Finals.
No, I mean that's facts as well. I agree with that. I'm very curious to see if the Denver Nuggets are indeed the Utah Jazz this year, where they have a bunch of wins and they look really flashy and they put up a bunch of points, but can they defend in the playoffs? I still think our Dubs would beat them in a 7-game series.
See, now I was going to ask you because, as has been the theme of the day, me and the individual across from
it
me
only started at like 150.
We don't agree on anything as it pertains to the Golden State Warriors. I still think the Warriors in the playoffs could be difficult.
Yes.
However,
they can't win on the road and they can't defend on the road. Trysta, I'm looking at this thing. I asked a serious question.
In the regular season, they can't defend on the road. In the regular season, they can't win on the road.
They're gonna defend Phoenix on the road in the playoffs? No.
Yeah.
No, they're not. And this, I was half joking but half serious. Trysta, do you think they get to 10 road wins this year? You may not have the schedule
7
in front of them. They got 7 right now. And I think they play Houston one time on the road. Anytime other than that, would they be favorite to win on the road? Any other game left?
I'm looking at their schedule right now, and you got me flat-footed, but it's okay.
He's doing too much.
I know, it's okay. We can do this. Lakers, they'll probably
25.
They'll be favored against the Thunder. They'll be favored against.
It's going to go to work on them.
The Rockets. They'll be favored against the Blazers. They'll be favored against.
They just lost to the Blazers at home, by the way.
Yeah, but the Blazers, I think, are going to start selling. Anthony Simons has got an ankle injury, and I think that's night sleep mask. So I think it's like 10, 11 road wins.
They can't defend on the road. That's not much like much like the Kings. Once again, here's something that doesn't apply to the Kings. Ain't just going to start magically defending, but the Warriors will.
Yeah, because they've done that before.
I think you're making too much of the road schedule.
This Warriors team does not defend on the road.
Well, they got Gary Payton now.
He's not even playing.
I don't think he's playing, though.
But he will in the playoffs.
Well,
after not playing for 9 months, he's going to come
He's played the last 15 games for the Blazers.
Captain exaggeration.
My guy. See, it's a good thing I have all these things inside my brain, or I would be like, But no.
That's why I know I can talk to you about it. That's why I know I can talk.
That's why we can have conversations about Judah setting this whole life thing in motion with you. You got all that stuff you got stored in your brain.
You guys are the best. Honestly, like
I'm beginning to feel otherwise. I'll tell you that.
You guys are the best. Today is obviously a cantankerous day. I can feel it in the energy. It's just I've been up since 8, which is way too early for someone who works nights.
Why? What have you been doing?
I had a hit with our morning show. The Daily Tip, pause. Yeah, that's what their show is called. That's what they call it. That's the name of the show. So I did a hit with them at like 8:20, and I had to get up to try to get the sleep out of my eyes. I literally did the hit laying down in my bed. But
very good.
I tried to go back to sleep. Then I did another thing with Bally Sports at noon. I had something else.
That'll be gone soon.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's not going to last long.
By the way, remember I told you guys that party I was going to? It ended up the last Friday. It ended up not being a party in any way, shape, or form. It was a business. It was a business thing. It was a business event.
Oh, those are usually the big time parties.
There's no, not like that. This was no shade to them, but it was like we were little show ponies.
Oh no.
Here, have you meet the CEO.
They had you do the what was my man's name in Jerry Maguire?
What's his name? Cuba Gooding Jr. in that?
They had you do that, huh? Just watch
Yep.
the movie, watch.
It was like, hey, this is Trysta, and it's like CEO of Odyssey's like a big Philadelphia Eagle fan, so you know what time it is there. And
Rod Tidwell.
Rod
okay,
Tidwell.
Rod
Tidwell,
Plug the
yes.
hell out of me. Rod Tidwell. Yep.
And they're like, oh yeah, I follow you on Twitter, and I'm like, oh,
Uh-oh.
and he goes, it's wild on there, and I go, it is. And then the CEO of BetMGM is there, and the CEO of Stadium is there that does the thing with Valley Sports, and then they're just like show ponying you around. Head of Odyssey Sports is there, and I realized about 3 hours in, I'm not able to leave this and do what I want to do.
Oh man,
This is a work event.
Oh, brutal! You got suckered into work.
Yeah, I did.
We love you to death.
I love you back.